It's a bear. Absolutely the most incorrect coin I've seen this last month, unless you're a contrarian. Hey, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Lovely day out there. Looks like we're getting a little sunshine poking through the clouds here in South Florida. Pretty rainy week. A little late in the year for rain, or is it just me? I thought we usually got our rain earlier in April and May, and that's that area, but pretty wet out there. Hey, take a look at this. Ooh, who's swimming at us right there? Looks like what a Bermuda chub is. And there's a little Sergeant Major kind of swimming around the camera there. As I said before, and I've said many times, and a triggerfish. Oh gosh, I'd rather do a fishing show today. Not much to talk about with precious metals today, but we're going to go into it anyway. Let's move into spot prices first. I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. And again, kind of just a gut feeling, and based on the way I've seen these things play out before, my feeling was that either yesterday I think I said gold is either too high or silver is too cheap. And as I said in the video yesterday, I felt it was silver was too cheap. The gold to silver ratio is kind of quite out of whack right now, or not in its normal range where it's been the average. Let me just do a quick math here and tell you what that is. 1 second. 1777 divided by 22.9. 77.59 to 1. So that's still more than what our average ratio has been for quite some time. It's been sticking around. I think the 30-year average, when I last looked yesterday, we looked at the graph, the average has been in the, 65 to 1, right in that area. And it kind of peaked at 77 to 1 or 78 this last week. Again, which he was telling me the gold and silver ratio was way out of whack. And oddly enough, as I said, platinum has kind of been leading the way. Look at this, green, and then everything else is up. When platinum's been red, the other, gold and silver seem to have followed it. When platinum has turned green, shortly thereafter, the next day, gold and silver followed that. It's almost like platinum's got what is it, a crystal ball or something like that, or is into the future here, a little bit further than gold and silver. No less, markets are up across the board. The coin set a bear this morning. Wow. Nah, as I said, this coin has been hitting it wrong consistently for like 2 weeks now. Before it was hitting it right all the time. Not all the time, but good consistency. It was almost scary. Now it's the complete opposite. Well, anyways, let's not talk about coins. That's just spinny things and luck, more or less. Spinning coins and luck. 22.90, that's quite impressive. Up 38 cents since yesterday's New York close. A low at 22.50. Silver's really in the show today just because of the percentages up from where it was. We were looking at the low 22s. Some people were worried that we were going to hit that 21 level. And again, folks, it can still happen. We haven't had our Lehman moment yet. The Lehman moment in the United States, I'm not talking about China, whatever happens over there. Could that lead to a crisis over here? It doesn't look like it today. Actually, it looks like they've kind of leveled things out a little bit. However, what China does, China just directly goes in and takes the company over. Now the CCP is basically the manager of Evergrande, I am sure, or their accountants or their bookkeepers or bean counters, whatever they are. And, when you have the printing press, there's not much you can't save. The thing with Evergrande, China, the CCP has the same issue with Evergrande as we do with our big banks and entities. Too big to fail, too big to jail. And that's exactly what you got going over there. Again, Evergrande is going to be managed by their government now. How far are we from that happening in the United States? Well, our government and our central banks don't directly manage and own these corporate entities. In a way they do, kind of. They're beholden to them, vice versa. But we don't really go in and directly manage them and control them. We allow them to go through a bankruptcy process and such. But the problem with that is it gets a little more touchy when it comes into injecting money. It's not like the Treasury can just take over Lehman Brothers when it went down, directly take it over and just pumping money into it. Our system wasn't set up for that. However, again, as I kind of moved away from what I was talking about with gold and silver, but the when is our Lehman moment here in the United States? When do we get our Lehman moment? And it's not if we get a Lehman moment here. It's a matter of when. I don't like to pick specific time frames. That got Peter Schiff in trouble when he was talking about he thought there was going to be an economic crash after the 2008 crash. He kept saying, and he was correct too, you can't just keep pumping money into the system, QE, and keeping interest rates low, printing money endlessly. You just can't keep doing that. And Peter Schiff is exactly right. You just can't keep doing that. But Peter Schiff put a time frame on it. He was and CNBC and these talking corporate heads on on television never let him forget that he was wrong on his picking his time. So I learned my lesson from watching Peter. And the problem Peter had was that he underestimated the guy with the printing press. You can never underestimate the guy that prints money. And the mistake that a lot of us, some of us, I have made in the past. I can't say a lot of us and you or anybody else, but the mistake I have made in the past is just throwing it off as these guys are a bunch of dumb shits. Central bankers are a bunch of dumb shits. That's wrong. Number one, they're not dumb shits. They're probably 3 chess moves ahead of all the other bankers in the world and governments and such like that. They have art of AI intelligence. They have everything they need at their fingertips to they have all the data they need. They have all the AI and computers and experts they need. They're way ahead in the chess game. So to assume that the Fed and central bankers are stupid, at least the U.S. Central bankers, would be really stupid. It has been stupid on my part. So, and again, underestimating the guy that owns the printing press, you can't do it. No less, this is why I am not concerned about these drops in gold. In fact, it's just a great time to buy the dip if you have that opportunity. And if you don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're going to fly right through these. These dips are only temporary. Gold and silver and I guess platinum. Well, let's not say platinum right now because the performance of platinum has been really poor the last couple of years. But gold and silver are doing very, very well. And we've been in a bull market, I want to say, since 2000, 2016, 2017. It doesn't always look like a bull market, folks. Bull markets, a lot of younger people and a lot of people that aren't familiar with markets at all, when they think of bull market, they think of like the crypto going from $25,000 to $40,000 overnight. They those trajectories, those 45-degree lines on the charts. To them, that's a bull market. Sometimes it's hard to see a bull market because it's very, very choppy in the up and down side. But take for example the Dow, the S&P. That's been a bull market. It's been a little choppy along the way, and gold and silver certainly have been far more choppier, and that climb hasn't been as much. But we've been in a bull market since 2016 in precious metals, and I think this has got some more legs on it. At least another 4 years or more, I think, even probably longer. Again, it's just assuming that central bankers across the world are a couple moves ahead. They can endlessly print money. They're just delaying the demise. And maybe they're not even delaying a demise. Maybe, again, this reset thing is all about them, a reset. It's all about resetting the value of the dollar, maybe a new type of dollar. And as my conspiracy has been for quite some time, I think they're getting everyone used to cashless society, and I fear that greatly. I hope we never have a cashless society. One of the reasons I'm not a fan of cryptos at all, because really it's nothing. It's just a fiat, a digital 0 and 1 that took a lot of electricity to make. It's got no value. It's got no intrinsic value at all. Well, the electricity could be intrinsic, but not really, folks. You can't hold electricity in your hand either. But no less, let me not sit there and talk about. Let's do a quick refresh and see what it's done in the last few minutes. I've just seen silver marching up. Oh, down 8 cents or so, but still, overall, I think we're looking good today. Look at palladium. It made that march back up. It was around, I think it was below 1900 this week. High 18s, getting into that gold territory. Looked at $100 day up. Now, as I said yesterday, that I felt that either the gold price was too high or silver was too low. That's what the ratio was telling us, and obviously I was correct in the assumption that silver was too low, because gold kind of just steadied out at that 1750, 1775 level. And again, platinum kind of led the way. Platinum had that green flashing sign yesterday, which was good. Kind of was indicating that gold and silver will be up. Again, I think platinum's a little bit in the future here. So let's see. Let's not talk about palladium. Nobody buys it. That's a problem. All right. Charts yesterday, it was kind of interesting. Lower prices, stronger fundamentals. This is done by Keith Weiner, and I'm not sure if we talked about this article the other day, but this is on Seeking Alpha. It is a great website, and their paid version gives you a lot more options, more things to look at and play with. And I don't get paid for this, by the way, folks. They don't even know I exist out here, but I do like their site, and it was worth paying a couple bucks to get a subscription to it. In this article, let me just read the summary here. Keith Weiner wrote this, and again, I might have talked about this earlier in the week, and I'm going to hit a little paragraph down there. Since last week's report, the price action has been downward. The price of gold dropped $50, and that of silver $1.35. The gold-silver ratio rose to its highest level since the end of 2020. Okay, that's what I was pointing that out yesterday and today. And for the gold-silver ratio to get back into whack, the price of silver needs to rise more than the price of gold. So he's basically, more or less, I guess Keith felt that the price of silver was going to rise up to the price of gold, and we weren't going to see any more. Kind of probably on the same page as I was. And again, that's what happened today. Price of silver kind of went up substantially. Gold's kind of sitting where it was. That ratio tightening up a little bit. But the ratio is still out of whack from its average, folks. So let's see what happens. Where is the... This is something I've been talking about for a long time. I don't know a lot about charts. I fully admit it. I never followed charts to look. I mean, I glanced at them, and tried to surmise what we were telling me and listened to the chart guys, but I never really looked at them too hard. The problem with charts, the good side and the bad side. What's the good side of charts? The good side of charts is that sometimes knowing where you've been is going to tell you where you're going. Okay, so charts are great for telling you where you've been. Factual. The data tells you where you've been, and similar circumstances on these lines, on these timelines, on the graphs and stuff. You can kind of make these correlations, but the problem is it's like driving a car with just a rear view mirror. Yeah, if the road looks familiar behind you, you can kind of say, well, it looks straight and fast here, so I'm going to continue at this speed. But in fact, you may hit a big bump, or you may hit a curve you didn't see. So what it doesn't tell you, it doesn't really tell you what the future holds. Again, great for telling you where you've been, where you might go, and what that looks like. But again, let me read his little comment here. Technical chartists are either throwing in the towel, and I can't blame them, or tearing their hair out. We advise against tearing one's hair out. It does not make the price go up, but it's painful and maybe permanently disfiguring. And we can offer some hope. Let's take a look. Okay, so he's asking, any of you chart guys, you may want to read this. He makes some good points down here. But as I said, charts only tell you where you've been, not where you're going. And if you understand that, you wouldn't be tearing your hair out, obviously. Well, good article, again, by Keith Weiner here. I suggest, God, I hope I'm not mispronouncing his name. My apology if I am, Keith. And let's move over to ZH here. Absolutely nothing in precious metals. I was really surprised to not see anybody say, well, Sprott, an ode to meatloaf, which I thought was a cute little title. You've probably seen it in some other blogs as well. You might want to read that. Let's take a look at what's going on here. I got kicked off FB last year for a month. Not for saying this, but just for merely saying that I think it originated out of China, actually. But let's just avoid that topic totally and see what else is going on here. That's actually good news, not surprising. That's pretty damn funny. Again, nothing, mostly just political and nonsense here. I couldn't find too much out here that directly related to what we're doing here. Confused Wall Street reacts to Evergrande's debt payment, which really means is we're going to have more volatility in the precious metal markets, folks. You saw what happened to the industrial metals, silver and platinum and palladium in the Asian markets the night or the day after it was known that Evergrande was going to go belly up. They just tanked. So it's very possible that this problem is not over. However, as I said, never underestimate people that have the printing press, and the beauty of what the CCP has, unlike the United States and other countries, is they just go in and take over stuff and then just spin up the printing presses and make sure it doesn't go bankrupt. However, that's not capitalism, and that's not running a real business. That's too big to fail, too big to jail. And they've got themselves in that situation as well. Brand new MIT confirms. I think Tesla's got some issues coming up, even though this has nothing to do with precious metals. Love the science, and I love the, not science, but I love the product that he's offered. He was one of the first guys out there to really move all these companies into electric. But then again, we're not here to talk about that. GATA.org. Here's that an ode to meatloaf thing. I read this by Craig Hemke for Sprott. It's kind of interesting that he uses the phrase, is it yes or no? And that's basically what's going on with the Fed. They keep going like back. Are you going to raise rates or you're not going to raise rates? Are you going to taper? Or are you not going to taper? Well, the truth is the Fed is doing exactly what they plan to do. They're a couple moves ahead of everything else. And whatever they say today is what they meant to say. And again, a lot of this is psychological. I think the Fed has been playing a psychological game for quite some time. And they're probably good at it. You know, like I said, they probably have AI that says, and experts are going in the background confirming with the AI, yeah, we should probably say this and this and this. It'll cause these people to react like this and this and this. And it'll cause the algos to do this and this and this. That's exactly what the Fed's doing. They're not just willy-nilly throwing shit out there. Believe me, these people are brighter than I gave them credit for many years. They're looking out for their own best interests, though, not ours. And always remember, what is it that these central banks, what is it that these wise chess players, what is it that these manipulators, these guys really, what do they own? They don't own fiat. They don't. I want to remind you of this too. They don't own fiat. They don't own cryptos. They don't own, you know, yeah, they got diamonds and stuff like that. But what do they have in their vaults? Gold. All the major central bankers across the world, they own gold in their vaults. They tell you not to do it. They try to discourage you and I from doing it, but they own it. So that should tell you a lot. You know that thing, do as I, what is it? Do as I do, or do as I say, not as I do. Well, do the opposite when it comes to central bankers. Do as they do, not as they say. So, hey, I like that. That was, well, anyways. J.P. Cordes, again, central bankers. This is an interesting article that we have just found out that some of our own central bankers here, including Jerome Powell, and have been trading markets. And they have this inside information. They have incredible technology and information available to them. If these guys weren't trading on their own, I'd be very surprised, but obviously it's true, and occasionally when it gets thrown in their face, they have to say, oh, we're sorry, we're sorry. I guess they won't be getting that much richer until they start whatever. Again, these guys are certainly making money, and as I've said, central bankers do not work for us, they work for themselves. And, oh good, I'm getting my boat mechanic coming to meet me here shortly. Timing's just perfect too. All right, let's look into commercial rare coins and precious metals videos here. I got a bunch of them out there. Oh, anybody wants to see what I kind of watch? I got a weird taste out there for videos. So, Hickok 45 and a lot of Kentucky ballistics, and I'm a gun guy. I know, I admit it. And then I like them. Aussie Man reviews. But hey, listen. Gosh, I'm kind of getting off track today. We're not talking a lot about precious metals, but again, as I said, not a lot to talk about. Gold too high or silver too cheap? Well, apparently silver was too cheap, okay? And this was yesterday's video where I kind of laid out where I thought silver was going to go up today, and it did. I had a really good gut feeling, and I felt that it was going to, unless the contagion of the Evergrande event spread more and more and more, and I pretty much knew last night that they had it under somewhat control. But again, folks, precious metals will take a giant dump when we have our layman moment here. Will you be able to buy it at those prices? Probably not. But no less, you're going to see it. And don't panic. Don't panic. Just kind of wind your way through it. You won't have any issues. I'd like to thank everybody here for watching. And I agree, they're both too low for sure. But again, the ratio said that one had to come down or the other had to go up. Didn't say, but again, those ratios are pretty consistent pattern, I noticed. So I'd like to, you know, one thing, I'm not a mathematician, I'm not a graph guy, I'm not a statistician. I've basically been doing this a long time, full-time, since 1977 pretty much. Well, I started working for my father in 77, but I've been doing it a long time. And you start to recognize patterns, you see these patterns, and they become pretty consistent, and the ratio was one of them, and has been one of them. And the monkey hammering on Fridays and Sunday nights. That's been one of the patterns I've noticed for years and years, and selling into thinly traded markets. So there's a lot of patterns you recognize over when you do something for 40 years. Bourbon's too smoky. I like smoky. Whiskey is better. That's what makes the world go around, Celeste. I prefer bourbon over whiskey, oddly enough, but I like those smoky flavors, and wine too, believe it or not. I like wine that's been aged in those, what is it, bourbon barrels. So, hey, thanks for watching. Boy, you guys learning a lot about me today. Thanks, Wilfred. I appreciate that. Don Juan says, don't buy metals if it's not physical. Can't argue with that. And Skip, don't get too drunk. I'd like to thank Silver Surfer. Some miners say mining ratio. Oh, thanks. 7 to 1. We were talking about yesterday. You know, the gold to silver ratio right now is like, what I say, 70. God, I forget, 75 to 1 or something. It's above the average. The earth, the amount of gold to silver in the earth, or on the entire earth, inside and outside, I think geologists have said is around that 7 to 1 figure, although a few people had mentioned something different up here. Thanks for that comment, Silver Surfer. I appreciate that. And one day silver will shift into palladium price range. That's cool. I wish it would like spike like that. We could all make a lot of money. But the problem with that, Wayne, is when silver goes into the palladium price range, that loaf of bread is going to be like 98 bucks, and you know, that 6-pack of beer is going to be around $100. So that's not a good thing either. But thanks for watching, Wayne. And again, at least you know, it's about wealth preservation, and that's a great example of wealth preservation, is that the silver and gold will keep up with that, so you'll be able to still buy a $100 loaf of bread and a $100 6-pack of beer, cheap beer. Thanks for watching, Wayne. Demon says, I've watched and liked so many. They're saying, oh, thanks, appreciate that. I guess they're showing my videos on feeds. Jose, thanks to Travis for looking after my best. Oh yeah, the kid that works for me. You know, a young man that works for me is amazing. Before the age of 18, he's been in college since he was like 15, and he's learning to become a NASCAR driver. So, you know, look out for Travis. He works for me. I think one day he's either going to be a politician or a race car driver, or both if he's lucky. So thanks for watching, Jose. Jeremy Barton, great show. Thank you, Tree Climber. Good to see you out there. I've been watching the uranium getting pumped up and pumped up. Not a market I know. I can't really discuss it, but I looked at it for a second. I almost considered it, but then I realized, God, everybody knows about it now. It's probably just a pump and dump. Thanks for watching. I think it's come out of the ground at about 8, 9 to 1. Okay, 7, 8, 9 to 1. Still pretty damn rare. Thanks for watching, Stars. Joey, thank you. That was a good article. And Keith says, Majestic Silver, the mining show, is about 9 to 1, possibly lower. Thanks, Don. I appreciate that. Well, I think I got through this video here. I'm going to wait and see. Hey, let's quickly look and do an update on the spot prices and see if anything's changed. I don't think Powell's spoken yet. A little bit down on the gold side, but silver kind of going up. Looks like we're going to get back in line with our ratios here not too long from now. Well, that's it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Call me anytime you like, between 10 and 4 Mondays through Fridays. I'm a brick and mortar only. I do not deal online or on the phone, so you have to live in South Florida to come and deal with me, unless you want to make a long drive. If you need anything, give me a call or come on in. Again, we got great deals. I got some really good product out there, and we won't sell you overpriced products like Silver Eagles and other things, even though I love that product. And that's really about it. Hey, let's see what happens and see what the Fed says today. Talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye.